Back to the Future Part 2 has a lot of problems. One of the biggest problems is how old Biff knows how to use the time machine, right? He learns about the DeLorean being a time machine, by overhearing Doc and Marty talking. Yeah. And so I guess older Biff is like stalking them, waiting for them to, leave the time machine alone so he can take it. And okay, so we probably can believe he knows how to drive a DeLorean because, it's an older car from his generation. Fine. But how does he know about the 88 miles per hour requirement to travel back in time, right? He doesn't know how to use the DeLorean as a time traveling device, right? So how does he know about the 88 miles per hour? He didn't hear Doc talk about that. Uh, but okay, let's put that aside for a sec. Let's assume he figured it out and he was just driving fast and maybe he just miraculously went back to 1955. Um, I don't believe that the time circuits were set to 1955, so that means he also taught himself how to set the time circuits, to the time he wanted to travel to. Okay, so we can accept that. We can accept that old Biff taught himself how to set the time circuits, taught himself or taught himself the need to go 88 miles per hour to travel back in time in 1955. Okay, we'll accept all of that. So he goes back, gives his younger self the sports almanac, so he can become a rich person. Great. But the thing that doesn't make sense is when old Biff goes back to the future, it's still the original future that he came from, right? Because we learn from Doc later on that when you go back to the past and change the past, and then you try to go to the future again, it becomes the future of that new reality, right? That's why they couldn't go back to the future and stop old Biff from stealing the DeLorean, right? Because if they did, it would be the future where Biff is already rich. So they had to go back to 1955 and stop old Biff from giving younger Biff the almanac. But how did older Biff go back to the original future, right? Because he went back, gave himself the almanac. So that means if he went back to the future, he should have been in the future where he's rich. It wouldn't be the other future that he came from, but it was the other future he came from, right? Because that he returns the DeLorean to the exact same spot it was in. But how did he do that? Does Biff know how to change the space-time continuum? I think he does. He's smarter than Doc.